Now on this video, I'm going to try to show how we repaired some carbon fiber work that goes on to Luciano's Evil Triplet, the bike he made. It's a 1000cc Ninja he made from 3 parts bikes. And it's a very interesting project we've tried to document little by little. But this is one of the final fairing parts that needed to be fixed. And if we had not fixed this, or if you've not done a good job on it, it could have not just been something that somewhere down the road can come back and bite you. Now, I suggest anybody, you look at how I did this and why I did it, and if when next time you take your sport bike apart, if there's broken parts, fix them before you put it back together. So today we're going to do some work for Luciano. We're going to do some carbon fiber repair on his Evil Triplet project. The lower belly pan has some of the screws broken and needs to be repaired, carbon fibered. I'm going to show the technique I use using scraps of carbon fiber, cyanoacrylate, formerly known as CA, which you can buy from any hobby shop. And I'm going to try to show some of it in real time, some of it in fast forward, so it doesn't get to be too long of a video. But also, while Luciano's here, and probably the last thing of the day, what we'll do is we'll check that the tank from my track bike, the 750, the spare bike that I have, might fit on his tank in case he has an issue with that tank. And we don't know yet because he hasn't ridden a bike. So one of the things he did that I thought was a little, I wouldn't have done it anyway, he hasn't really ridden a bike to see if the tank leaks or if there's any other issue with the tank, and he painted it. But we're going to find out. But if that tank fits, he can just take that tank. Now I have many videos out there, old ones and relatively new ones, of repairing fairings. In fact, this one we did. This bike has been crashed on this side, and I think it's safe to say we've got it back to where you can't tell which side it was crashed on. This bike has so much carbon fiber work inside that fairing. I have 2 sets of body work, and I've shown on video many times how I did that. But anyway, today it's going to be the belly pan. And what happens once those screws start getting loose and it starts vibrating, it's a one-way trip to Palookaville. Alright, so Luciano's here, and this is a part for his Evil Triplet, but you can see what we're going to have to fix today. We're going to fix, and this is very common with older bikes. There's another one up there. We're going to do this with carbon fiber and CA, and then you look around, everything else is okay. Then what are you going to do? Are you going to paint this eventually?
No, it's already painted.
This, well, it's on the bottom of the bike.
It's original paint.
This is paint, or is it that color when you, let me see what it is. Okay, yeah, you could just polish it a little bit even. You don't even have to paint it.
Yeah.
But if you don't reinforce this is what happens. This thing starts shake, then this one breaks. Then it really starts to shake, and then the part comes off and hits the guy behind you. Yeah. So we'll just do a little demo of how we would fix these. It's not that big of a deal, but if you don't fix them, sometimes they can come back to bite you. The first part of any repair job, anywhere, anytime, any place, get the part clean with Simple Green, and also I like to use some degreaser, some M600, prep ball, anything. I want the part clean because every time I start grinding, and I'm going to use a power sander to flatten those areas out. Every time I do that and I try to flatten those areas out and make them smooth, I want to leave a rough, etched, scratched surface, and I need it to be clean and dry and etched before I put any carbon fiber or CA on there to get it to bond correctly. So now we got it rough. We want to clean it up clean this whole area that we're going to put carbon fiber on with Sikkens M600 or some degreasing agent. It's got to be perfectly clean, etched, scratched. Otherwise that hook, that CA is not going to stick. Now, luckily we have plenty of these sanding drums to get the shape. We got to shape the part that we need. These all came from Amazon. I think they were $100 for $10. And all of the tools we need, because we're going to have to do some grinding on that before we lay out the carbon fiber. But you never want to grind over grease and dirt and oil, or you're just grinding it right back into where you're trying to get the part to stick. And you really never want to sand over anything, especially with a power sander or a Dremel tool, over something that's got grease or oil or some debris on it. because that just drives it down into the part and limits the bonding effect of the CA. So the idea was to try to get that flat and rough so that the CA will stick. Now we got to get some scrap carbon fiber and get that laid right in there. Now we got plenty of scraps, but I want to have the tight weave stuff. Anybody that has never worked with carbon fiber, this is expensive. This is about $350 a roll. And this stuff is relatively cheap, about $20, $30 a yard on eBay. And the CA is available from hobby shops or from Brodak.com. And this is a nice tight weave, or we'll make the patches out of the tight weave. And we're going to use Brodak Thin CA for this job. Now, I wanted to put this one little piece in real time. Now what I'm doing, I'm having Luciano hold the part so it's flat, it's horizontal. That means it's not going to drip upstream or downstream. I take the little patch, put a couple of drops of thin CA. Thin CA is going to take about 30 seconds to kick off or to harden. So I'm using it in my glove, but I'm patting it. I'm not holding the glove there for any length of time that it can get a bond. Add a little bit extra. Once you can start to see it, and it'll usually a little puff of smoke, or you'll get the idea that it's coming off. You can then take, and I should have had them ready ahead of time, a few Q-tips, and the Q-tips will just, the dust from the Q-tips accelerates the cure of the CA. Now normally that would be 30 seconds, sometimes 45 seconds. When CA gets old, if you don't keep it in the refrigerator, shelf life is less and you have to use kicker. Now that's Freon, that's in a little separate spray bottle. That's called kicker. Now if you just keep pushing it down with Q-tips, you can then add a little more CA, get a Q-tip, but keep the Q-tip moving. The whole secret here, don't have your glove or the Q-tip or anything that you're pressing down on that. You don't want it to stick in place. Now the beauty of this is I can just put layer after layer after layer. I can add more material. In this case, we wanted to make it the exact thickness of the part so that those blind nuts will get a good grip. And we have a couple spare blind nuts to check. At the end of this, I think it was 4 layers. Maybe we had to add a layer, I don't remember. But right now, I can see I'm building up the thickness that I want and let each one kick just a little bit. CA is capillary. That means on a it'll go down into the part. It'll go down into the glove you're wearing too. Even these rubber gloves will stick right to that part. So, and the Q-tips will stick too. But you just want to just pat it, move it, and in the very end put a little bit of that Freon on it, some kicker, and watch those little razor splinters. At this point they have to be sanded down carefully. Now we just got to sand, clean that up, and then locate the hole, and we'll try to make sure we have the right thickness so these fit right on. So once that's sanded down, even with a little bit of rough paper, you can see what happens. If you sand it put a little bit of CA on there while it's still wet, it'll pick up all the stuff, the little dust, and make like Bondo. It makes a nice smooth, you could run your hand on it now without cutting your finger, and you just throw the sandpaper away.
It's fine.
It's thick enough?
Yeah.
Okay, a double the price. You pay me on ice and give me the check in July.
Let's make it August.
So this is what we're going to do, is burn a hole through there with a cutter, not a drill. A drill would tend to catch on that and maybe do some damage. This will burn its way right through. Okay, tell me, you got it?
Yeah.
A little bit of smoke. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, if you have the hole, you could take a taper reamer and make that exactly.
Don't make it too big.
No, exactly the hole you want. Okay, is that good? Put the nut on. Let's see if it fits.
Yeah.
Is it thick enough? It holds it in place?
Yeah, absolutely.
You'll never break that now.
No.
Boy, oh boy. That's the real deal. All right, now we got one more to do with basically the same thing here. We got to do all the operations we just did.
Yeah.
and we'll be back. Is that one broken
No,
too?
no, this is fine.
Okay, none of the other ones look even cracked, so
No.
normally I would say, while we got it apart,
I had to cut most of the screws because they were rusted.
yeah. Well, this is what, 40 years old now, 41. Wow,
Counting.
almost as old as us. Now, what's a good idea is anytime you have one hole like this, is check all the other ones to see if any of them are cracked, and if they just have little spider cracks in them, fix them before they break like this one did. The whole tab breaks. And you can use the same technique on anything that has a tab or a mounting point, and usually the mounting points are stress risers that tend to break before anything else. This is the second one. We did two repairs on this fairing, this little lower fairing, and both of them were pretty much the same, so I put this one in fast forward. Same amount of things with the Dremel tool and the sandpaper and everything. But if we had more, if we had 6 or 8 or 10, this is the time to do them. When you have the material out, do them all at once. Okay, all we got to do is drill a hole now. Make sure that goes down in the right spot. I want to see how these are. Oh no, they all are up like that.
Yeah,
Okay, I thought that didn't go down far enough. I was wrong. Okay, so that spots the hole.
Yeah.
Let me just spot the hole, drill a hole, and then I'll write you up a bill.
Sure.
You got your checkbook with you? Carbon fiber checkbook.
I gotta pay you pennies.
Yeah, you're gonna pay me in pizza. And it's a useful tip to know not to use an electric drill or an ordinary drill on when you go to drill through carbon fiber. It's better to use a little burr, burn a little hole in the center, and then use a reamer or a step drill to make it a little bit bigger. Okay, that one's done. This one came out great. Put a nut on there, and let's just make sure it's the right thickness, because I had to do both sides on this one. Can you take one of those nuts off, those
Sure.
captive nuts or whatever they call them? Yeah, make sure it's the right thickness, because we could make it thicker, or I could grind it down till it's...
I can squeeze it down.
Okay, good.
Yeah, squeeze
All right,
it down.
good. So this is one of the final parts of the Evil Triplet. It's a 1000cc Ninja it's a very interesting project Luciano made from 3 bikes that he got very inexpensively and had to rebuild one of the engines. But he's got so many spare parts, it's unbelievable. So another job leaves the shop with one more happy owner. Are you happy? Are you happy? How happy are you? Anyway, I hope there's some good information on here. If you need to do that kind of a little repair, it's really not a big deal, but wear gloves and don't glue your hand to the part. So on the Evil Triplet, that tank doesn't fit? Is that what you're saying?
No, you know what?
It looks the same, but it's not, because that's a 750.
Yeah, similar. It's a similar shape.
It's close but no cigar, like us.
It thing has the balls, right?
Yeah. All right, so you can't use it.
You can put the fair in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hold that fairing up.
I'm not gonna pay you for us.
Hold that fairing up. Wait, you know your stuff. I'm so impressed. You know all about carbon fiber now.
Yeah.
So it turned out to be a real productive day for Luciano, and the only sad part was that 750 tank wasn't an exact fit for his bike, or he'd have yet another spare tank. Anyway, we do try to share the projects that we do in the shop. We try to post a video every day. Most of all, we try to share our passion for motorcycling, especially old bikes that need a lot of tender love and care. And if you're one of those people that enjoys taking these old bikes apart and getting them running like they're better than new, and doing some paint work and some fairing repairs and some painting wheels, if you enjoy that, then you probably enjoy every minute of our channel. But one thing we try to do, anytime we get together at a meetup, anytime we get together in my shop or Luciano's shop or anywhere, the biggest thing is I want to share the passion of motorcycling, and at the same time I want to have fun, and most of all, at the end of the day, ride safe. Thanks so much, guys, for watching.